Hello guys and welcome to the Media Nights. My name is Ari.
I'm Denise.
And we're going to be reacting to the new trailer, House of the Dragon. It's, as you know, a prequel to Game of Thrones, the show. That's a show that I have a lot of mixed feelings with. I really enjoyed some of the seasons. Didn't quite enjoy the finale as much as I thought
Not quite.
Yeah. As much as I thought I was going to enjoy it. People, when they ask me, what's your favorite season, I always say season 5. In particular, the episode Battle of the Bastards. As you know. I think that episode alone is a cinematic masterpiece. I think it was shot so well. The battle itself is shot so well that it made me, think like, wow, like, what if they ever continued, and now they are, but what if they ever chose to do, to keep telling us the story of the Lord of the Rings, and how could this kind of cinematic technique be applied to those battles? Because that battle looks absolutely insane and absolutely beautiful and so raw and so, the danger is right there.
Yeah, it's very palpable.
So palpable.
Yeah.
Everything from the movie to the choreography to the, the horses and everything. Anyway, that episode is like the climax for me from Game of Thrones. And then the final confrontation between, the bastards, right? Jon Snow and Ramsay. So that was really cool. I did enjoy the show. I did enjoy Daenerys too and the whole dragon lore. All the way until the end. The end kind of was like, there's a lot of debate on whether or not it was justified what she does in the end of the show, and then how she turns out to, find her demise.
Massacre, basically.
Basically. So, other than that, I thought the show was good. I mean, it kept us hooked for 8 seasons?
Yeah.
I did feel like the last season was a little bit rushed. They could have used the extra 2 episodes. I think it was only 8 episodes or something like that, or 7. I can't quite remember.
Something like that, yeah.
But it was short. Another critique that I had about the last season is that they've been hyping up in the show, the long night throughout the whole show. And then you finally see the long night. And I remember, one thing I remember about that episode is playing it, and it was nighttime, and I had a TV, and it wasn't even like an OLED screen. It was like a normal screen with normal brightness. And I remember looking at the screen like,
what is happening?
I can't see shit. It's so dark.
Anything.
Like, they weren't kidding when they said it was the darkest night ever. Yeah, I can't. So dark that the cameras couldn't.
It was the darkest, but it was not the longest.
The cameras couldn't even capture anything. And it was just some of those things in the storyline that kind of like took it down a point for me. But overall, I think the show was really good. Overall, the political drama they built was really good. The lore was fantastic. Seeing the dragons do their thing was fantastic, especially throughout the seasons when you just saw the budget increase. Every time you saw a dragon, it's like, oh, that looks better. Oh, that looks better. And then by the end, you're like, oh, fuck, that's a dragon. That looks like a real dragon.
That's a whole-ass dragon.
Yeah. So that was cool, that we got to see like a show really grow into what it did, right? It kind of became like the same way that the Harry Potter films grew in the way that they did, like the VFX, and they looked better and better and better. And the stakes got bigger and bigger. Game of Thrones did the same thing. And I thoroughly enjoyed that aspect of it. So here we are. Now we're here with House of the Dragons. It's going to be a prequel. What do you think?
I have stronger feelings about the end. It's funny. I feel like that's the theme of this week, where we're just, first I mentioned it with the whole retconning and Halloween.
Halloween, yeah.
And then I also mentioned the same line in one of our Resident Evil videos where Welcome to Raccoon City, we're just going to ignore and pretend it didn't happen.
Never happened.
Me personally.
Never happened.
The final season, I'm just going to pretend like it never happened. Once I do that, I think the show was phenomenal. I think it was great to see that TV shows can also be incredibly cinematic.
Absolutely.
It was great to see that, when you do allot the resources that a story deserves, you can really come up with something incredibly unique. It was wonderful. Like, one thing that I always loved about Game of Thrones is that, because you were talking about how the danger is so palpable.
Absolutely, yeah.
There is no such thing as plot armor.
No, oh god, no. Not in Game of Thrones, yeah.
Not in Game of Thrones.
Oh man, I think we all recall that moment in season 1 where we lost our lead.
Yeah.
I mean, what did we expect? It was Sean Bean, Like, what do you expect, guys?
Justice for Sean Bean. He literally dies in everything. Poor man. But like, for me, like, this guy was the one that kind of brought me into it. I tried the first season. I will be very honest. I did not like it very much. But once I actually I feel like the first season is like the hardest one to get past. It's very dense. There's a lot of character introductions, story introductions, history, and all these things. But once you get past that, there's actually a lot that the show has to give, that it has to offer. And, you know, some of the dialogue was incredible. Like, the intelligent characters were truly intelligent. We were not just being told that the character is intelligent. We actually got to see their resourcefulness.
Tyrion Lannister was a freaking genius on season 2.
Phenomenal.
He was like, you know what?
It's amazing.
We're screwed. We're outnumbered. Let me see how I can solve this. And then you spend the whole season or the last few episodes, right, kind of like just seeing him build this master plan to completely annihilate the opposite, the opposite opposing. Sorry, to completely annihilate the opposing team, and he does it. And the wildfire sequence is fantastic. Like, you see why this guy could potentially be dangerous because of how smart he is and how he uses his intellect, despite of you know, people making fun of his size, despite of people not taking him seriously. He is the reason why, you know, that basically they survived that raid, right? Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. Like, that we got to see that from a character perspective.
Yeah. And one thing that I also really liked is that, you know, like, what was the young king? The annoying kid?
Oh, Joffrey.
Joffrey. Oh my God.
Joffrey.
The hatred for this child. I mean, kudos to the actor, but like, oh my God.
He did great.
He did great. I hated him so much. Also, like with Cersei, you know, like the way the villains were written, they had a depth to them, like, or Ramsay.
I was going to say, you cannot speak about villains without mentioning Ramsay.
I was saving the best for last.
Ramsay, what was it? Ramsay Bolton, right?
Ramsay Bolton.
He was so fucking good, man. Like, his acting and his unhingedness and his...
it's the eyes, dude.
Unpredictability, man. So like, you did not know if he was going to crack a joke or actually go through with it. And then when he chose and he was bored, that was like the most dangerous time to be next to this guy whenever he was bored, because he was just a fucking monster.
Yeah, and like the cruelty that he just brought so casually, like...
Coldness. Psychopath. He's a fucking psycho. Yeah. You know, he has no emotions, no disregard for people, and he was just, no empathy. And he was just so cruel, man. But he was, what a villain. He was one of those guys that you were like, I can't wait to see you die. But also, you're so fucking cool.
I was just going to say it, because, like, you know, once you build up a character like that, their downfall becomes that much more satisfying. Yeah. And I think that's what we really lacked with Cersei and Daenerys, like towards the end of their storyline. Personally, I'm not a big fan of, you know, woman scored going crazy and killing everybody. I think that trope needs to be left way in the past. But I'm always game for a good story of a hero's downfall, where someone who was supposed to be the savior ends up being the ultimate destroyer, right?
Balance to the force. You were supposed to bring balance.
You were my brother, Anakin.
I loved you. Oh man, that hurts. Still hurts. Anyway, that was done very well. But at least you know the reasoning behind it, and you built it for 3 films. It doesn't come out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I feel like I can understand that Daenerys slowly would slip into madness and just be taken over by that madness that was looming over her, that people always compared her to. And like, it was the number one thing that she didn't want to be, right? So I think there's something incredibly poetic and very powerful there as a story. I'm all for that. It just leaving that snap for one single moment, I'm not, no. It's a strong no for me. I thought it was really badly written.
Before you guys even comment anything, a lot of people argue the fact that, you know, it was always there. She always kind of like took the power into her own hands and then decided to burn certain leaders when it was like justified. And I do agree. It
so
was
did
there.
Everybody else on the show.
It was justified in those moments, but it was never like, I'm just going to go ahead and kill innocent people. I think that's what this conversation is more about versus her killing or not killing people. When she did, it was very justified, and we were kind of like rooting, like, you know, she's liberating the slaves, and she's being the cool hero. It wasn't much like, oh, she's burning a whole country, basically, without, you know, any disregard whether they're, you know, the responsible ones or not. Yeah. And that's kind of like an issue.
They had given up, right?
Yeah.
Like, they waved the white flag and she still went after him. Like I said, that is a very powerful, badass moment that I think could have been horrifying, but also great to watch. Which is very much also in tone of Game of Thrones, right?
It's very true to how somebody would react. I can tell you that. Like, sometimes real people don't have character arcs. Real people don't have, I mean, we do, but we don't vocalize them, right? Like, there's things that bother us that we don't talk about, and it keeps growing and growing, and eventually it just snaps. The thing is, normally when they translate this to film, they do a better job at showing us, oh, this made her tick. Oh, this made her tick, and it just keeps increasing little by little. No, she just seemed like a really nice person up until the very last season where, her best friend dies, and then boom, we got what we got. But anyway, this is...
Yeah, I think coming off of that, I also, unpopular opinion, I do tend to feel a certain way about prequels. I always have some hesitation. I think, because we talked about this earlier, and you made a phenomenal point where prequels can work beautifully in kind of enhancing the story and kind of showing us what happened before and why some of the things in the present are... so powerful, and then you can increase like the emotional stakes of the present by having a really good prequel, by having a really good backstory. So I'm all for that. But I also feel like there's a lot of prequels out there that are literally just cash grabs. And there's also a part of me that's like, I don't really care what happened before if you're not going to continue the story. Like, I do care, but I think it has to be done well. So, I always have a little bit of suspicion going into these. I do think that, Game of Thrones has the chance to kind of redeem themselves after that dumpster fire of a final season. And I do have faith. Like, they have incredibly strong source material to draw from. And, Martin being such an incredible writer, coming up with really riveting stories. So I feel like they should be set up for success. If they, treat everything with the respect and adoration and the care that we have seen them put into the first about 5 seasons in Game of Thrones. So, if that's how it's going to go, then I'm all for it.
We're going to react to House of the Dragons, the official trailer. Hopefully it's something, entertaining, and we'll see how it goes. See you guys in a second.
He's afoot.
All right.
That's an intro. Jesus.
Oh, the chair looks so badass.
The dream. It was clearer than a memory. And I heard the sound of thundering arms, splintering shields and ringing swords. And I placed my heir upon the Iron Throne. And all the dragons roared as one.
Ooh.
Wow.
I consider the matter urgent. That of your succession.
Well, who else would have a claim?
The firstborn child.
Rhaenyra. No queen has ever sat the Iron Throne.
The king has an heir, Daemon Targaryen.
I will not be made to choose between my brother and my daughter.
Oh boy. It's gonna be a fight for the throne all over again.
Rhaenyra's succession will be challenged. Knives will come out.
You are the king. Your duty is to take a new wife.
I have decided to name a new heir. I'm your heir. War is afoot.
Yeah.
The realm will ever accept me as their queen.
A woman would not inherit the Iron Throne. Because that is the order of things.
When I'm queen, I will create a new order.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
Another Daenerys.
Dragons. They are a power men should never have trifled with.
The egg.
If Rhaenyra comes into power, she could cut off any challenge to her succession.
Dude, this looks great.
I
This
am
looks
to inherit
amazing.
the Iron Throne. She will block my way.
Our hearts remain as one.
Our hearts were never one. Have you never imagined yourself on the Iron Throne?
Oh boy.
Where is duty? Where is sacrifice?
Dude, the dragons look so badass.
I know.
They see you as you are.
Yes!
Look at that.
Yes.
Oh shit.
August 21st.
August 21st.
Wow.
Choose your plan. Start
All right.
$9.99 a month.
Okay.
All right.
This looks very much like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Which I am happy about because I think a lot of the initial reaction was like, oh my God, like you said, not a prequel. Oh my
Yeah.
God, do we need it? But I feel like if they're able to tell a story that's compelling, like, having two plausible heirs to the throne and like who is it going to be? And the fact that it is, obviously a boy and a girl and they're, and that's the conversation that's being had. I feel like that already gives you a lot of room to create some really interesting writing and really cool scripts and kind of see where it takes these characters, right? Because it's going to be a whole revolution. It looks like they're going to destroy themselves from the inside just with this own conflict. And I'm all for that. That's pretty good.
No, listen. Visually, it looks stunning. Like, I'm loving what we've seen so far. Really looking forward to, like, the conflict that's going to be going on between the king's brother and his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for some classic Game of Thrones ruthlessness and espionage and paranoia and political
they're just going to try to sabotage each other throughout the whole show, like you already know. But the dragons, dude.
They look awesome.
And this is supposed to be the time where obviously the dragons were, before they all disappeared. So I'm excited to see them at the height of their power, right? Before we saw them in Game of Thrones, they kind of were revived and they got there eventually. But we're going to see what it was back in the day and how does society handle, right, being surrounded by these super powerful mythical creatures that can turn, the tide of a war just like that.
Right.
So
it's
going to be interesting.
I'm really interested to see like how they're going to use these dragons. You know what I mean? Like how are they're going to put it to use. Like, Daenerys used them the way she used them, but I think there's like a lot of fun to be had there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and for sure,
dragons, dude, dragons are awesome.
And aside from the visual aspect, which is obviously going to be so dope to see, like just to see them in action. Clearly, from the sequences that we're getting, they look amazing. They look as good as the very last season of Game of Thrones and how we saw them. They look super detailed.
Dare I say even better?
I think so. The last shot at the close-up of the dragon looked really good.
Yeah, it was like super dramatic too, just coming out of the shadows.
Amazing.
I'm like, okay, I'm here for
it. So clearly, if they can use them in some sort of like political way as well and incorporate that into the issue, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
Because really, whoever has the dragons has the power to change whatever they want, right? So yeah, that was exciting. I'm excited to see this.
I know. Me too. I gotta brush up on my lore.
Yeah, same. You're gonna have to rewatch the whole. No, I'm not gonna. we're gonna do a little recap.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We are the Media Knights. I am Ari.
And I'm Denise.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.